opening with a poignant image. Clusters of royal milk grapes, also known by the elegant name Sunshine Rose, once a symbol of luxury, are now piling up in despair. The farmers have given them a new name, one steeped in sorrow: Golden Sun Tears. The plump, premium quality grapes that were once highly sought after are now being rejected. Mournful cries echo throughout the markets. 10 yuan for 3 pounds. At such a rock-bottom price, how can the farmers possibly hold on? The once bustling grape street has now fallen into gloom, with prices hitting the depths of despair. Nowadays, products are no longer sold by the pound. Major brands that once dominated the market are now forced to sell off entire cases as a desperate way to cut losses. Prices have dropped from just a few yuan per pound to only 15 to 25 yuan for a whole large case. The market has completely collapsed, overwhelmed by an enormous supply not only from local sources, but also from provinces across the country. It can be said that Golden Sun Tear is the most tragically fated fruit this year. Just after hitting the market, its price plummeted uncontrollably, with some places selling it for just over 60 cents per pound. People often talk about a disappointing watermelon season, but the plight of royal milk grapes is even worse by far. At this price, selling an entire truckload of grapes wouldn't even cover the costs incurred. Once considered a premium fruit that used to sell for over $3 per pound, it is now facing a brutal market repositioning. Since the beginning of the year, a price shock has swept through China's high-end fruit market. The peak example is the royal milk grape variety, which has plummeted from an unbelievable price of about $90 per pound to below 90 cents per pound. Many farmers are now on the brink of bankruptcy. A farmer bitterly shared that even when selling the first batch of grapes of the season, which have the best flavor and ideal crispness, the price is still unacceptable. Compared to previous years, not only have selling prices plummeted, but sales volume has also dropped drastically. The bleak macroeconomic environment has caused consumer demand to shrink abruptly. No matter how good the quality is, it can't be sold at a profitable price. The hopes of the farmers have been crushed. Many, after selling off their entire harvest at loss, have even decided to uproot all their plants. A standard greenhouse requires an investment of at least $4,500 per acre, not including labor costs. But now, with the market collapsed, they can only sell for a few cents per pound. Revenue from selling the entire vineyard wasn't even enough to cover labor costs, resulting in heavy losses. Once considered a noble fruit, royal milk grapes are now classified as a low-tier agricultural product. According to Tran Vu, a seller on an e-commerce platform, this year's price has dropped by 1/3 compared to last year, while sales volume has fallen to only half. On online platforms, lower quality grapes are even sold for as little as 90 cents per pound. Few people know that this grape variety originated in Japan, was introduced to China in 2006, and began to be cultivated on a large scale in 2014. During its peak in 2015, its price surpassed $90 per pound, earning it the nickname Hermes of the grape world. However, the mass cultivation in greenhouses, combined with the advantage of low transportation costs from newly established growing regions, led to a surplus crisis. The immediate cause was supply far exceeding demand, but the root of the problem ran much deeper. Even when prices have dropped to unbelievably low levels, purchasing power has not improved at all. This reveals a harsh reality. People simply don't have any money left in their pockets. They are having to tighten their belts. This is a sign of a widespread consumer recession. The price-slashing storm is not only devastating vineyards, it is spreading throughout the entire agricultural industry. Fresh winter apples, seafood, and even pork are all sinking into a similar crisis. According to international reports, fresh winter apples from Dali County, Shaanxi Province, despite being released half a month earlier, have seen their prices continuously plummet to a historic low. By mid-June, the farm gate price had dropped sharply and has since remained below $2.80 per pound, nearly 30% lower than the same period in previous years. Mr. Lai Hung Ben, a college graduate who returned to his hometown to start a business in the apple industry, has built a complete supply chain and partnered with major supermarkets like Walmart. However, when talking about this year's market, he couldn't hide his disappointment. He estimates that revenue will drop by at least 30%, an unprecedented pressure considering he is responsible for the livelihoods of more than 30 employees. The wave of price drops has hit the seafood industry hard. A fisherman exclaimed, "I have never seen a market this bad in over 10 years." Shrimp, a key product, is now unsellable. Large shrimp, which used to sell for $12 to $15 per pound, are now going for $3, and still no one is buying. According to reports, the seafood market has collapsed, with fishermen losing up to $1.05 per pound of shrimp. In Shanghai, the prices of many types of shrimp have dropped by half compared to winter. Black tiger shrimp, which sold for about $14.30 per pound last month, are now only around $7.70. White leg shrimp, which were expensive earlier this year, have also fallen by more than 30%. A similar situation is happening in Guangzhou, where prices for many kinds of seafood have decreased by 20 to 30%. But the biggest shock probably came from the pork market, a staple in the Chinese diet. The topic pork entering the era of 9 yuan prices became a trending topic on social media. In major production areas in the north, pork prices have dropped below $1.90 per pound. This prolonged downturn is pushing livestock farmers to the brink of bankruptcy. A major farming company has even had to cease operations due to losses. Internal calculations show that each pig sold is losing between $9 and $15. If the situation continues, most businesses will collapse. The pig-to-feed ratio, an important warning indicator, has fallen below the alarm threshold. The average nationwide price of live pigs has dropped by more than one-third compared to last year. Even though the government announced it would start purchasing frozen pork for reserves, a trader remains pessimistic, saying this move will not be able to save the market. Even more alarmingly, the nationwide frozen pork inventory has surged to a record high of 78%. One cold storage owner admitted, "No one is buying front leg pork even at 17 yuan per kilogram." Experts point out three main causes. First, large livestock corporations are rushing to sell off their stock at a loss. Second, market demand has nearly frozen, with slaughterhouses operating at 26% lower capacity. And third, policies aimed at reducing herd sizes have discouraged secondary fatteners, a crucial reserve force in the market, from participating. This bleak picture is not limited to the agricultural sector. It is a symptom of a much more dangerous economic illness, deflation. From agricultural products to real estate, from cars to food delivery services, everything is getting cheaper. But this is not good news. A woman shared her heartbreaking story about rushing to buy a house and now being stuck with a huge mortgage while property's value is plummeting day by day. Another homeowner in Shanghai, despite owning an apartment in a prime location, had to lower the price by $500,000 in just 3 months and still couldn't find a buyer. This is the frightening reality of deflation. It not only makes goods cheaper, but also erodes the value of your assets, while your debts remain unchanged. One blogger compared the situation to a person who is tied up and thrown into the water. The more they struggle, the faster they sink. Real estate companies have slashed prices by 30%, yet there are still no buyers. Supermarkets have launched promotions like buy one, get 3 free, but customers remain scarce. This is no longer just a story about consumers cutting back on spending. It's a clear sign that cash flow throughout society is drying up. In response to this situation, Chinese leader Xi Jinping is reported to have made a controversial statement. What's wrong with deflation? Doesn't everyone like lower prices? Commentator Wang Longming pointed out that this lack of economic understanding will only cause a deflation crisis to spread further. Mr. Wang analyzed that such an innocent comment suggests the top leader seems unaware that deflation is even more dangerous than inflation. When people expect prices to keep falling, they delay their purchases. This is where the deadly spiral begins. Weak consumer spending leads to a decline in business profits. Companies are forced to cut wages, lay off employees, and reduce investments. Rising unemployment causes consumers to tighten their budgets even more, driving prices down further. This is a self-destructive cycle that can result in social unrest and political crisis. Bloomberg reports that China is experiencing its longest deflationary period since the 1960s, the final phase of Mao Zedong's disastrous Great Leap Forward campaign. Major Wall Street banks like J.P. Morgan and Citigroup also predict that this trend will continue at least to the end of 2025. Deflation is becoming the silent killer of China's economy. It is eroding confidence, stifling growth, and threatening the stability of the nation. The nightmare that began with the Golden Sunlight Drops grape clusters has now cast a dark shadow over the entire economic future of this powerhouse.